Uh-oh. The last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day. And that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
If you have the passion and the work ethic and the engagement and the commitment, then we bring the expertise. And that's the partnership. And everybody that is an owner-operator does come to Dallas, Texas. They do train in the original restaurant. They do work hands-on with the team here. They do spend 3 weeks in Dallas with us. And then they go and spend another 3 weeks on site when they open. And we send a person to help open the restaurant. So it's all about the partnership, but you don't need to know how to smoke meat. We'll teach you how to do that.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. As we welcome in the month of March, it means a few very, very important things. Number one, spring training baseball is underway. And I am pretty sure, folks, this is the year the Cubs are going to win it again. I mean, probably. It also means we've got March Madness. That's a week or so away from getting started. And I am pretty sure this is the year my bracket is going to be the most unbusted bracket ever. Probably. But really slightly more relevant to this podcast and something that I am 100% sure of is that March is Women's History Month. And to celebrate again this year, we are going to bring in some of the true female rock stars in franchising this month. And with a little twist, we've got a couple that have been in this for a long time. We've got some of the newer ones as well coming. And today, we're going to talk to a CEO of one of the oldest and most beloved fast casual food franchises. We're going to focus on her background, obviously her leadership of this yum-tastic brand, and why it may be a great fit for you to own this franchise. If you haven't eat something first before you're going to listen to this, because you're going to want some of the food and probably going to want to own it too. So before we do that, a quick reminder of who we are. FranCoach is a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals like yourselves interested in owning a franchise. We're partnered with over 600, getting close to 700 almost, believe it or not, franchise brands, 70 plus industries. Number one goal for us always is to help get you properly educated on franchise ownership to determine if this is the path for you now. If so, we're going to help find what is your absolute best franchise to own. That is all about us. Now let's get to our guest. All right, we are back on the Franchising 101 podcast. And let me tell you, folks, if you are listening to this around lunchtime or dinner time, you're going to be a little, salivating here. Not just our amazing guest, but who she is with. Joining us is the CEO of Dickey's Barbecue Pit, Laura Rea Dickey. Laura, thanks for joining us.
I mean, it's great to be here.
Did we bring food today?
Well, we always and ready with barbecue. We have brisket, we have ribs, we have 2 kinds of pulled pork, we have 2 kinds of kielbasa sausage. So we are here with barbecue.
Okay, so where I live, half my life I live in Tampa, Florida, where I can get Dickey's Barbecue. The other half is in Arizona, in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, where they ain't no Dickey's Barbecue out here. So we literally, I'm excited about the Subway that's being DoorDash for me and my kid here in a little bit. So we'll hit up the barbecue next week when I'm in Florida. But we want to talk all about Dickey's Barbecue Pit, the whole fantastic story. But franchising is a people business more than anything else. So guess what? Guess who's on the spotlight right off the bat there, Laura? It is you. Give us a little scoop on Laura and kind of like just kind of your background and how you got into this whole crazy world.
Yeah, shockingly, I did not have barbecue dreams when I was a little Laura. I did not think that I would end up here. But I love that I did. I actually born in Wyoming. I'm raised in Oklahoma and have been migrating south, I guess, ever since. And ended up in Texas for school at TCU, and then went into technology and marketing. And that's really where my background is, and have gotten to work with a lot of great brands. And then my husband, Roland, and I was drafted into service, essentially, into the family business. And I like to say I missed a couple of meetings and was eventually demoted to CEO. So, but seriously, that's my background is marketing and technology, and have just always had a passion for communication and connections and connecting people and products and just really that connection point, communication and strategy and those sorts of things, and had a lot of restaurant and retail clients in my life with Dickey's. And then the 2008 recession, Roland was running the company, third generation, family owned business still. And he was at a decision point. He was like, hey, we can sell, we can grow, what do we want to do? And I said, what, I think we're all in. We've been around since 1941. I think we can really do this and really continue to, grow the brand, grow the business, grow the legacy, right? And so he said, great, then that means, and we need your help. So he really did draft me into service in what we thought would be, I think, a temporary situation. And he said, I need you to stop working on other clients for marketing and technology and come and help us out. So it really was an all hands on deck. And we were at about 80 locations at the time. We're over 500 today. And so we really pulled in and refined the business at that time and have been growing ever since.
Oh my gosh, crazy. So sorry for the demotion to CEO, but
it happens.
so like you could have had a real job making a difference, but instead you're a CEO. So but go back to you mentioned your husband, kind of we're on like this is 3.0 right version. Give us this because it's an amazing story of how Dickey's got started and the fact that since 1941 this is still truly a family owned business is awesome. So share that with us a little bit.
Absolutely. I think that's part of the magic of what we do. It's food and folks for us, right? We are truly legit Texas barbecue. There is this great wood burning pit in every restaurant. So we're really smoking all the meats on site. We have, like I said, we have fantastic brisket. We have pork ribs. We have pork, we have our sausages, but it really started where I'm sitting in our corporate office in Dallas, Texas. Our original location is right across the 75, right across the highway. We can look out the window and see it. And that location was opened by my husband's grandfather in October of 1941. And it is the oldest continuously operating restaurant in Dallas that's never changed locations, changed ownership, changed names, or moved. So we have been serving folks in that location since 1941. The original pit did have a small fire and fall off the back, so we've rebuilt the pit since then. But we'll start there. And I would say it was definitely a barbecue joint at the time because it was so small. It's a converted house, actually. Oh. So you can walk in and there's still the old fireplace in what was the living room. And we still have the original serving line. We also had one of the first two beer licenses in Dallas, actually. So when you walk into the serving line and you can see, we always have the pitmaster behind the block and our serving line. And you can see this awning that kind of hangs down over the serving line where the cash register is, the POS. And it looks kind of funky. And people are like, what's that? And it's like, well, that was when in 1941, you wanted to serve beer, you actually had to have one of those awnings up to denote that beer was sold there. So it's still there. So there's kind of that just wonderful, authentic legacy there. And we've grown from that. And we've really grown organically. And with the food and the folks. That's what it is. It's all about the barbecue and then all about serving the best barbecue with the best partners. That's really the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned you coming on board and getting drafted into service during kind of the all the '08 stuff.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, October 1941 is when the first one was launched. Nothing of significance happened like 2 months later, right? In the United States, in the world, like, oh my gosh, and you think of all the things that, like, the little engine that could here, that's Dickey's Barbecue Pit, has sustained over time is pretty crazy. I'm sure there were some amazing stories of what that was like at the beginning.
Yes, well, our cookbook is called Behind the Barbecue, Tall Tales and Cocktails with Dickey's Barbecue, and there's certainly been a lot of tall Texas tales that have taken place at Central, as we lovingly call number one, the original location. But yes, actually, my husband's grandfather was a World War I veteran, so he had come back and needed to make a living and got married, and that's why he opened the restaurant and ran it literally until the day he died. He passed in the restaurant, and so my husband's father, my father-in-law, as we call him, Mr. Dickey, really one of my favorite people. He is the fastest talking Texan. I like to describe him as if Rodney Dangerfield and Winston Churchill had a baby. That's my father-in-law. And he is all personality. And he really just brought kind of the energy and the spirit and took it from one location into a small family-owned chain, not even franchising at the time. But we expanded to, under him, to 8 family-owned locations. We still have 8 today. But he really just thought, I think, that we would be a family chain, and that's what we would do. And so he ran the business and expanded, did really, truly kind of invented the catering business as we know it today for us. Barbecue is just so perfect for that. Yeah. And so, he did great catering, just really built a solid reputation. And then eventually opened a family-owned restaurant outside of Texas in New Mexico, and actually tried a full service model. And we ran that for several years. But we're fast casual barbecue. So you go in and we have, again, smoked on site, pit master, and you pick your sides, and then you can just enjoy that. Or you can actually now today order online with us, or order through PB DoorDash, or we'll bring it to you in most locations. But no, my father-in-law expanded the business, and then in 1994 started franchising. He had 2 customers that just kept coming in and asking, this is just such a great way to make a living. We love the barbecue. We love barbecuing. Sell us a restaurant. And eventually, Frank Smith wore him down, and he did. And his son Dale is still a franchisee today. They have 4 locations around Texas. But we really just started growing organically in that way.
Yeah, that's. I think there's a lot of brands that's just kind of what happens, right? It's like, oh, this is so good. Let me give me a piece of this, and then okay, right? And so, which is great to know as I'm sure for the family, like, man, these people love it so much. Not are they coming back to eat? There's some of them that want to own this also, right? So that's got to be a great validation of what it is. And so I'm sure there's been a handful of iterations over time. And certainly all the new locations aren't in some really old house, right? So give us kind of a scoop of what that ideal location looks like now.
Definitely. And that's something that my husband's really brought into the business. So he joined, I think, in about 98, 99, and he really took on the expansion of the business. And so that was really taking it from what my father-in-law did as a family chain into franchising and expanding. And he really came in and did just that, was to really develop the business model, really develop what that kind of nail it and scale it footprint is. And that's changed over time. Initially, we had very large, 3,000 square foot dinner houses, but we've evolved today to a very room 1,800 to 2,200 square foot inline or end cap with a drive-through is great, although it doesn't have to have one. But it's a really just lean and sleek barbecue restaurant that's focused still all around the pit. And so we have, dine-in folks, we have a lot of carry-out business, we have delivery, and a lot of catering. And then we had a really big holiday sales, but we can accomplish all of that in a fast casual 1,800 to 2,200 square foot location.
And one of the things you've mentioned it twice now, because it's I think a hidden component of a lot of food type of restaurants or food franchises is catering, right? Yeah, people are going to come in. Hopefully they're going to come back. But oh my gosh, if you can get some of those big ticket, we're doing a team lunch or a family thing for 20, 30, 40, 50 people. Exactly. Now all of a sudden, some of those probably didn't know you existed. And all of a sudden they're like, oh crap, this is good. Where's this at again? That's a huge piece of this, right?
I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Are your ulcerative colitis symptoms proving difficult to manage? Tremfya guselkumab can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. At 1 year, many patients taking Tremfya achieved clinical remission, and some patients also achieved endoscopic remission. Individual results may vary. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor if Tremfya can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Catering makes all the difference, and we're set up to do that so well. We have proteins, we have home style sides, and it's a really good experience. It's a really good value for folks. You can come in and have a dinner party where you are serving, or a lunch, or whatever it might be, team lunch. We cater just all different types of parties, events, offices, everything for that, even for $12 a person. And they're getting 2 meats and 3 sides. Everybody's happy. Everybody gets tired of sandwiches and pizza and situations like that. So we're a really good alternative to that. And it is exactly how do you build the business. You just go in and, it is making connections. And if we can connect folks with our food, all you have to do is have them try the brisket, have them try the barbecue, and you have made a customer, and you have made a guest that will come back and see you again. But catering is definitely an outstanding way to do that because it's a planned business, right? Yeah. That's what's so good about catering is that, you open your doors every day, you're smoking your meats, you have all your guests that come in. Online ordering is also great because you have a little bit of a heads up and notice. So that's good. But catering allows you to really plan. And so that's where you want to really nurture and build that part of the business, because then you know exactly how to manage your team members, your pit crew, as we call them, and really plan ahead and manage your cost of goods. So that's why we put such an emphasis on catering. And it is then again, that natural brand building, natural business building way to connect folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about the owner, kind of some of the things that you look for. But I want to start with a really simple question. Do you guys require your owners to be full-time, or could they be more semi-absentee and hire a manager?
That is such a great question. No, this is an owner-operator focused business. That's why we don't even internally use the term franchisee. We really only say that for SEO out in the world. But it's truly owner-operator. So you have to be passionate. There has to be someone that is the pit master of your restaurant. And that very rarely happens with a general manager. You might have a partner. You might come in as operating partners and an equity partner. Certainly that happens. But you have to have a designated owner-operator partner that agrees to have that passion, really work the pit, really build the business, because that's the art of the barbecue. That's what makes us different. It's what makes the food so elevated and so outstanding, but at a price point that it is really attractive to a large group of folks. But that takes genuine work, engagement, and involvement.
Hey folks, would you be interested in owning a franchise that has been cooking up something special since 1941? A brand with nearly 1,000 locations around the globe, yet still tons of opportunity for expansion. a brand that despite its size and age is still a family-run business with strong values? If so, I got one for you. Dickey's Barbecue Pit. Dickey's is a fast casual franchise that is different from everyone else in that space, as it is less about fast or casual and more about amazing food and a great customer experience. With a smaller footprint and easier build out than most food concepts, Dickey's has an affordable investment, so it is a fantastic option for someone who loves great food, wants a business with a family feel, a well-known name brand, and tons of support. If this sounds like what you've been looking for, then go to dickeys.com to learn more and get cooking on your better tomorrow. So somebody, let's say I'm sitting here and I'm like, ooh, this would be really cool to own. I'd love to be able to jump in. I don't know the first thing about doing any of this work. Like I can maybe on my grill a burger and a hot dog, right? And so I'm going to like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to run a bar, like pit master. I have no clue. How much does that matter to you guys, the people you're looking at?
I will say this, and it's a running joke around the office. I am the worst cook possible. Absolutely the worst. I am not the person that is leading
the CEO of Dickey's Barbecue, but you don't need to. You got an in.
That's right. I do have an in. But that's just it. That's what we bring to the table. We bring that expertise. If you have the passion and the work ethic and the engagement and the commitment, then we bring the expertise. And that's the partnership. So we have great folks. We have Chef Matt, our culinary team that is there. And we have 83 years of experience, recipes. We have barbecued it, we have smoked it, we have deep fried it. We bring that to the table and we teach folks how to do that. And everybody that is an owner operator does come to Dallas, Texas. They do train in the original restaurant. They do work hands-on with the team here. They do spend 3 weeks in Dallas with us. And then they go and spend another 3 weeks on site when they open. And we send a person to help open the restaurant. So it's all about the partnership, but you don't need to know how to smoke meat. We'll teach you how to do that.
Yeah. And in fact, you probably don't want them to know that, right? Because then they're like, well, no, my recipe is way better than yours, right? So,
and everybody has their own, and that works for them.
Right. You do yours when you go home. When you're here, you do this. No, and I think it's always, again, I'm glad you're able to kind of walk people through that because it's a little bit of a misconception, I think, sometimes in franchising. And like, I don't know how somebody could not like barbecue, but you don't necessarily have to be like, oh my gosh, I love barbecue. It's like understanding great food. And I like how you said that it's food in the folks, right? And so
that's what it is.
I'm guessing that owner that really is going to be focused on the people, building that culture within your staff, but again, making like hungry people very happy, and give not just good food, but that good experience. Is that pretty key for your owners as well?
It's so key. In fact, yesterday I was sitting with our owner operator, MJ Bro, in Mesquite, Texas, and he has been with us, 17 years. And I actually remember leading his training class and as I was developing my career inside of Dickey's. And when he came into the fold, and he is such a successful owner operator for us. He's done so well. But the key to MJ's success is MJ. We bring half of the partnership, but what he brings to the table is that passion. He loves his restaurant. He loves his community. He loves barbecue. He is Mr. Dickey in Mesquite, Texas. He has built that up. He has relationships with all of his schools, with all of the football teams, all the booster clubs, all the businesses. He goes out and personally builds that business. He is his ambassador, and he makes sure that either he is in his restaurant or his team, and he has seasoned, tenured folks that have been with him since he opened that restaurant. But he makes sure they have a great barbecue experience. It starts from they get out of their car when they're walking into the restaurant. They can smell the smoke. They truly can see that hickory. It's there working, smoking, and it's an experience. You go in, you can hear the chopping at the block and the slicing, and you can just have that wonderful greeting and that just really comfortable, welcoming barbecue Texas experience.
And you mentioned getting out in the community, which is what I was going to talk to you about that too, because it's a key component of the owner. So yes, you want them to be the pit master and learn all of those things, but owners aren't spending, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Like they got to get their butt out of there, get out into the community and really connect. Again, helping drive people in, but I'm guessing that connecting in the community is also where a lot of that catering comes in too, right?
Absolutely does. That is exactly what that is. It is connections. It is connecting folks. It was inviting them in to be your guest literally every day. Whether you do that one-to-one, whether you do that through marketing, whether you do that through engagement, it is getting out and sponsoring the Little League team. It is getting out and supporting the community by donating to fundraisers. It is engagement and connection points. That makes all of the difference. That is how you build the business dine-in. That is how you build the business to go. And that is definitely how you build the business for catering.
Yeah, and it's not just the food, but I think the branding element, and for those that are seeing this and not just hearing it, there's some yellow stuff behind you, and one of the I think iconic things, and it's been, I haven't lived near a Dickey's in a long time, but I had one of those yellow cups for a while, right? And so so again, there's it's unmistakable of oh, that's Dickey's barbecue pit. It's there's the big yellow, there's the yellow cup, right?
Yep,
that is,
that's right.
Again, kind of iconic with everything. Oh, it's a cup, but it stands out.
It's one of my favorite things, and it actually started as a mistake. But we truly is all good things do, right? But then my mother-in-law said, we're in Texas, we're hospitality. We want to give something for folks to take away. So let's give them a cup as a signature cup. They actually were not intended to be yellow, and there was a mistake with the printer, and they all came out of the box, as the tall Texas tale goes. And he was like, well, hell, I guess we have a big yellow cup now. And so we have had that ever since. And it's so great because folks will send in pictures of the big yellow cup. Social media, I love it when folks travel with the big yellow cup and take it to interesting places. The big yellow cup is more well-traveled than I am, but it is very iconic. And it's really cool to see, people when they'll send in their stories about, they'll use their big yellow cup for traditions or in celebrations, or do fun things with them. And so that's always great.
Yeah. And as the marketing background person you are, there's certainly some Instagrammable things with this too, right?
Yes, there definitely is. We have some great social media engagement there. And that's because it's real genuine connection. People love to share that. We love it when they send those in. One of my favorite letters, actually handwritten letter that I've gotten, which was also in of itself amazing. But we had a woman whose son had been deployed. And the first thing, I think he was deployed for over 2 years, and then he was coming back from service. And she sent in a letter with a photo of all of them sitting in the restaurant, cheersing with their big yellow cups, because he got off the plane and she said, after, I'm sure something along the lines of so great to see you, but where do you want to go eat? And he was like, Dickey's barbecue. He's like, I have been thinking about it. And that was so great. But that was his touch point for home. And then she went on to explain that was where they had their family celebrations and their family meals. And I love that we get to be a part of that. That's what really good, that local barbecue joint is for folks. And that's what we want to continue to be, is we're a place that people connect with some of their best moments, their celebrations, their family, their friends coming together, whether it's in a restaurant or they're catering it at home. But we get to be a part of that, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, I love that. What's your background prior to Dickey's, marketing and technology? It's easy to see how your marketing brain can roll into a food place. What about the technology side of your brain? How has that kind of transferred into now your role as CEO of Dickey's Barbecue Pit? Anything that's kind of come from that?
In fact, also one of those running jokes from my father-in-law, he was like, well, will you just come in and do the computer stuff? I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, yes, I can handle it. But it really was in 2008, 2009, we really engaged, and I brought the community marketing, which we've always done organically, but we formalized it, right? And so we really put a lot of emphasis at that time when everyone was stretched for dollars and really had to find ways to add value. So we brought that community marketing in, and then after we made it through, and that was when we did a lot of the things with the business model, which we can touch on about shrinking the footprint and really, raising the unit level economics. We moved looked back and said, what would have made this easier? What could we have done better? And one of the things we needed the most was a technology infrastructure. We were very old school, and we still are very food focused. And we had grown organically. We put all the focus on the barbecue, on the food, and not hardly any on the technology, right? So we had great folks all around us that had lots of good information, but it was all siloed. So we really locked in, and I said, okay, we've got to pull this data, this knowledge, all this experience, and make it actionable. So we built a data warehouse. We put all of our knowledge into, as we lovingly call it, smokestack, but that is our technology infrastructure, and it connects everybody. So we were then really able to grow into starting kind of in the back of the house operations and all that data, and really getting to see a clear picture from a data standpoint, who our guests were, what they were interested in, how they were engaging with us, how we can maximize that guest relationship. And then we built kind of from the back of the house to the front of the house, to our point of sale, to our online ordering, to our app, to our loyalty. So all of our technology actually is proprietary in-house, and we connect that and really just do some fun, great things then in the marketing front, because we have all of those data touch points.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good. You wouldn't think of, and I'm glad you kind of went through that, because I'm like, oh, it's a food thing. How's technology? Like a ton, right? From an efficiency standpoint. And I always, it's funny because you're not, clearly Dickey's isn't the only kind of food franchise that's done this. Like, hey, we thought bigger was better, but actually if we make this a little bit smaller, it actually raises like the revenue and the profit. Like who knew, right? Just because you've got everything streamlined at that point.
That's exactly right. That's very well said. And that's what part of that evolution for us of the business model has been, that we're definitely focused and really own a very profitable space in fast casual, because we really bring high quality product. You really have 12 to 14 hour pit smoked meat on site that someone is hand chopping, hand slicing, or as we like to do with our pulled pork, that grab, squish, and tickle method that makes that perfect pulled pork sandwich. And so you have that experience, and it's really high quality food and really great sides. And then we actually have added some Southern staples to the menu recently with our crispy fried chicken and our mashed potatoes and gravy. And we have a great crispy fried chicken sandwich with this country gravy on it. It's fantastic. I also add cheese to it. But you take those things, and that's the foundation of the business. But then you have to optimize it, right? You have to. We have a mantra: evolve or fail. And that is part of the key, I think, to the technology and the marketing. And that's where that data comes in. And that's where you have those insights. And that's where we shrunk the footprint of the restaurant down to that 1,800 to 2,200 square foot. That's where we found a way to truly optimize the kitchen and open the kitchen so that folks can see the pit, so they can see all the prep that's happening, so they can see everything on the line. They engage with the pit master. You can run a Dickey's with 3 folks very, very, very successfully from lunch all the way to close. And they come in and they're working with the food and the pit, and then they have all of this support in the technology and the marketing and the infrastructure, so that they're serving lunch, they're serving dinner, they're doing their caterings. But we did find all those data insights and have optimized from there.
Yeah, and part of that smaller footprint. Probably, I can't believe it's been 5 years now, but thank you, COVID, right? Because it's just like the amount, and literally in my house today, the amount of money I spent on DoorDash, because I'm a terrible father. I've DoorDashed breakfast and lunch today. Right. So, but this is food that travels well also, right? And so whether it's people coming in to pick it up, going on the app, picking it up, ordering it for the delivery, that helps that footprint shrinkage a little bit as well, correct?
It does. And it's interesting that you mentioned COVID, obviously, such an interesting experience for all of us. And definitely some of those things that we were very, very, very fortunate in the fact that we had our own technology infrastructure. So we were able to be so nimble and really immediately do some of those things that allowed us to continuously operate and continuously serve. And so we were able to be very nimble. We were able to adjust to communicate with our guests. We were able to do one of the first in to be able to do that no contact delivery, and to be able to let folks know that we could accommodate, pickup. And so it really built additionally that curbside and doubled down on that online ordering business for us. So whether they were picking it up or having it delivered or working with any of our third-party partners, that definitely having the infrastructure and the nimbleness to do that made a lot of difference. But you can have a really good quality barbecue meal, and you can have that delivered to you.
Yep.
And it travels really well. And I think that was also because we're good at catering. We were already set up to do that very well.
Yeah.
So we're already set up with to-go packaging. We're already set up with food that's going to be a good experience, even when you get it home to your own dinner table.
Yeah. So who knew, number one, who knew your technology background would work really well here, right? And then probably the most important question I'm going to ask you, Laura, is as I'm looking at your menu online, which is better, the pecan or the blondie brownie? Pecan pie or the blondie brownie?
That is a fighting question. I am actually a pecan pie fan. I love them, but the pecan pie wins my heart, and that's probably the Southern in me.
That's so there's a one of the big funding partners in franchising called FranFund, who's not too far from you guys in Fort Worth. We've worked with them really closely for a long time. So they have a little thing at Thanksgiving where they send out a pecan pie made in Texas someplace. And the beauty of it is my wife does not like pecan pie, and I eat that entire thing. There may be ice cream with it mixed in there, but I like. Yeah, so it was all the good food, and I am starving at the moment. So I'm like, oh, what else is on this menu? Ooh, there's pecan pie. So love it. The important things out there, and because it's also the South, we get tea, right? So we got
definitely
sweet tea and unsweet tea. So we've got that. So very cool. I want to fire one other kind of question at you, right? So the whole point of the franchise system is there is a proven plan, and in this case, proven for out of the math involved 80 some years. So we kind of got that part figured out, and all sorts of different support that people might think of. What's an area of support that you guys look at and go, hey, this is really, we are outstanding at this area of helping our owners succeed?
That's a great question. I really like to think that we're very well-rounded in the support that we give folks. But I think coming in and leading with the barbecue, with the food, that we really do a very good job of being so food-focused that we can help folks become a pit master. They can become an expert at barbecue. We can teach that. We provide the support outside of our training. Is a lot in our marketing and our technology and the support to build the business, right? Because it's barbecue and it's business, and they both have to work. So it is, I very, very wholeheartedly believe and have seen the fact that if you build it, they will come only for Iowa baseball, right? That is not the case in the restaurant business. That is not the case in franchising. You have to go out and invite folks to be your guest every day, all different touch points. You have to do that as the ambassador. You have to do that with community marketing. You have to do that with engagement. You have to do that with technology. You have to do that with social media. You have to do that online. You have to have the data to really develop a good plan. And I think that's what we bring to the table, is that expertise and how not only to make and serve the best barbecue, but how to get folks into that barbecue restaurant. And that's something that we provide a lot of support in, is that marketing and technology piece.
Yeah, because I don't care how great it is if like ain't nobody showing up.
That's right.
So the very last thing I'll let you, I'll throw it you and I'll let you go. And this is kind of a broad, open-ended question, but is there anything in particular we haven't talked about that you're like, oh gosh, I got to make sure everybody knows this about Dickey's? What might that one thing be that we're missing?
think about Dickey's is that we are that legit Texas barbecue. And we've mentioned it, we've touched on it, but that's what I hope that folks really take away from the brand is they don't know how big we are. They don't know how many states we're in because we want to have that neighborhood barbecue joint feel. We worked very hard to stay a third generation family owned business. And so that it doesn't matter from Dallas to Dubai, where we also have restaurants, that you get that experience. You have that true, legit Texas barbecue experience. And that, we have our secret sauce recipe that we make ourselves here in Texas. And that we also have a manufacturing infrastructure behind us where we built a USDA facility here in Mesquite, Texas. And so we hand make all of our kielbasa sausages. So it's a proprietary recipe. So we just have a little bit of such pride in the barbecue and in the food. And it's really family owned labor of love for us. And I think that's what's really important about the brand. It makes it unique.
Yeah. Awesome. No, thank you. I am excited to go. I'll be in Florida here in a couple of days. And my wife and I are going to go grab us some Dickey's barbecue. So I've already scoped out the closest one. Ironically, very close to the studio where we film our TV show, which you're about to be a guest on that as well. So
I think that is the case. Yes.
So the TV show is not nearly as like casual because my wife's on there too. She's mean. She starts firing some really you got to be ready for her with that.
I appreciate that.
I can get away with saying she's mean because she doesn't listen to the podcast. So, but Laura, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing a little bit about Dickey's Barbecue Pit with everyone.
And it was my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks again to Laura Rea Dickey from Dickey's Barbecue Pit for joining us today. Great way to kick off the month of March with such an incredibly talented female professional in the world of franchising. And what a great brand. So thanks for that. Tune in next week. We've got a newer rock star in female in the world of franchising to talk about. Little different twist on this, so super excited for that. Don't forget, Fridays 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV is the Franchising 360 show, co-hosted by me, and then as always, my significantly better half. On the slim chance she's listening, I want that on record. I said significantly better half. We've got a franchise guest coming in to join us to talk about a super unsexy franchise, kind of in the repair space that has quite the opportunity for it. So tune in there. As always, you can find us on FranCoach.net is where you're always going to find our team when you are ready to learn a little bit more to see if franchise ownership is right for you. Again, we're going to get you properly educated and then help you find the best one for you to own. When you're ready to do that, reach out to us again, FranCoach.net. There's never any fee for our service, so let us help you find your better tomorrow. Until next week, we'll see you then.